Welcome back to Las Vegas and the first major of the season. It is the crown jewel of the World Series of Bowling, the 2011 PBA World Championship. Over 250 bowlers from 14 different countries tried to get here. But now only 4 have survived, including the man many believe to be the best bowler in the world, #1 seed, Bill O'Neill. And then there are 2 former major winners who are looking for redemption. Are Sean Rash and Chris Barnes hungry enough to take home the title? O'Neill, Rash, Barnes, and Finnish superstar Osku Palermo. Who will be the last man standing at the PBA World Championship?
Today from the South Point Casino and Bowling Center, the 52nd edition of the PBA World Championship comes to a close. The first ever 3-day, 8-man stepladder final is down to its final 4. And all 4 of our finalists with compelling storylines. Your #4 seed, Chris Barnes, once the Wonder Man on the PBA Tour, trying to fight back against recent criticism to some failures on TV. Your 3 seed, Osku Palermo, could become the first two-handed bowler to win a major. And then your 2 seeds and 1 seed, Sean Rash and Bill O'Neill, respectively. Well, they represent the future of the PBA. Action got underway here at South Point on Friday. It was 8 seed Jason Belmonte taking on your #7 seed Wes Malott, and Belmo, the two-handed thrower from down under, got off to a great start, dropped an opening ham bone, and moved to 7 strikes and a convincing win. So he moved on to take on 6 seed Michael Haugen. The 10-pin, not Belmo's friend. Michael Haugen, it wasn't pretty, but effective. A couple Brooklyn strikes, and he was able to advance to Saturday's action. And last night's activities began with Haugen taking on 5 seed Mika Koivu-Niemi. Mika needing a strike after that lucky break. Strike would force bonus bowling. Instead, he dropped 9. Haugen wins by 1 to move on. Up next for him, though, 4 seed Chris Barnes, and the luck ran out. Barney dropping 8 strikes, including a pair of 3-baggers to roll over Haugen 243-172 to advance to today's final 4. Barnes, twice a runner-up here at the PBA World Championship, will start things off taking on Osku Palermo. Sean Rash will take on the winner, and there is Bill O'Neill, your #1 seed. Joining us right now, the man who won this event in 1987, future just days away from being a Hall of Famer, Randy Peterson. And for the 29-year-old Bill O'Neill, there's more at stake than simply winning another major.
Well, if he wins today, it proves that he is the best player on tour, without question. He dominated this marathon, and now is just 1 game away from capturing his 2nd consecutive major. Rob, the game plan for Bill O'Neill today is simple. Come out swinging.
We shift now to our 4 seed Chris Barnes, and for years people considered him the best on the tour. That feeling may have slipped just a little bit.
Well, for Chris Barnes today, it's threefold. 1, win the Triple Crown. 2, quiet the criticisms about his television failures. And 3, prove that he is still one of the elite players on this tour.
22 times he has been a tournament runner-up. Kimberly Pressler standing by on the lanes with Chris right now.
Chris, if you were to win today, you would actually become one of only 6 people ever to win a Triple Crown in PBA history. What would that mean to you?
Well, it's one of the things on the bucket list. There's no doubt about that. There's not a whole lot of things left that I feel like I have to accomplish, but that's definitely one of them. Huge goal today, but I got 3 of the toughest guys on the tour today to go through. So a lot of work to be had, and if I get there, I'll earn it.
Well, good luck to you today.
Thanks.
And the first man in the way of Barnes' quest for that Triple Crown is the hard-throwing, 2-handed bowler, Osku Palermo. It's Finnish power versus American know-how next when we return to Vegas. The PBA World Championship is brought to you by Lumber Liquidators, hardwood flooring for less. By Turbo Bowling Accessories. Put some drive in your game with Turbo brand inserts and accessories. By Barbazol. Start your day with Barbazol Shaving Cream, America's leader for a close, comfortable shave. And by the makers of Bear Aspirin. Expect wonders. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler, welcome you back to Las Vegas. Our first of 3 matches today as we conclude the 52nd edition of the PBA World Championship. Time now for the intro of our number 4 seed.
The number 4 qualifier owns 12 PBA Tour titles, including 2 majors. Former PBA Player of the Year from Double Oak, Texas, Chris Barnes.
Chris has made it to 34 title matches, winning 12. Perfect start for Barnes.
The number 3 qualifier won the Shark Championship at the 2010 World Series of Bowling for his first PBA Tour title representing Finland, the Big O, Asku Palerma.
The native of Espoo, Finland. His best major finish prior to this event, 5th at the U.S. Open several years ago.
Very interesting that Asku was certainly watching Jason Belmonte. That's why he's going with the natural, which is a urethane bowling ball on the right lane and a natural pearl on the left lane.
Jason Belmonte, also a 2-handed bowler, rolled in this competition on Friday, took care of Wes Malott and moved on. And Asku telling us the other day, I kept a close eye on what Jason did. Our styles are very similar, obviously, with the 2-handed approach.
Wait a minute. Wait for it.
Got it!
I think the real interesting thing, though, is he's playing the extreme outside part of the lane. He's out at the first arrow. Watch this. That went right over the 4th board. You want to talk about a huge break early on in a major championship. You just saw it right there.
That covered a lot of ground with that messenger. Here's Barnes to close out the 2nd. Dialed in through 2, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we talked about Chris Barnes trying to win the Triple Crown in the Open. I think it's only fair to mention the other players. I'll do that right after we talk about Chris's arsenal. He's going with the world beater, the strongest, most aggressive bowling ball in his bag. The other 5 Triple Crown winners: Billy Hardwick, Johnny Petraglia, Mike Albee, Pete Weber, and Norm Duke.
Good company.
Like
7 weebles and wobbles, but will not fall down.
great shot, bad break. Plain and simple. Here he comes right at you, Chris Barnes. A little bit different setup. Kind of tilts that wrist a little bit towards the inside to try to create a little bit more side roll. It cleans up the front part of the lane and gives him a nice, stronger back-end reaction. Chris generally likes to roll it real heavy up the back. Now trying to create a little more axis rotation, Rob.
So our first spare of our first match of the day. Barnes down 1. Asku Palerma. 1 tour title at the Geico Shark Championship. He won in November. And that win qualified him for next week's 2011 PBA Tournament of Champions. Live coverage next Saturday on ABC, 2:30 Eastern. Off target for the first time.
And that's the only problem with playing the extreme outside line and throwing a urethane bowling ball. You can't miss to the right. Now, if we were bowling on Cheetah, that probably would have made it back with no problem, but not on Viper. There's oil outside.
Whoa is right. Open frame for Asku as we take a look at our Lumber Liquidators know the wood, and Barnes and Palermo bowling on the Viper oil pattern today.
Yeah, and both players playing the lanes completely different. Oscar Palermo is deciding to try to throw that straight outside line, while Chris Barnes is in trying to feed the track area. The Viper does lend itself to multiple patterns, but I'm not real sure about that outside line. And this is exactly why. A little bit too far to the right, the ball hangs. He misses to the inside on that shot, and it goes through the nose.
After a great start for Palermo, a pair of opening strikes, he has gone open frame, and now hopefully for him a spare. That was an angry ball down the lane.
Rob, remember when we watched Jason Belmonte use urethane? He played the track area right around second arrow. And he found a home there. And I don't like the extreme outside line on the Viper.
Third strike for Barnes, who admitted to us, Randy, the high rev rate guys on today's show are going to make the lanes different today than they were last night for him.
Yeah, but you know what? He's finding a way to do it with his touch at the bottom of the swing. He's being, in his own words, real nice to it at the bottom. As soon as he grabs too much bowling ball at the bottom of the swing, it's going to jump early and hook.
There's his wife, Linda, watching in good spirits. One of the most talented female bowlers out there. Back-to-back jacks for Barnes.
Real soft hand at the bottom of the swing, Rob. He's able to keep the bowling ball on line.
He admitted last night that he had fun last night bowling. Relaxed, was in the moment. He, I think, can get into that habit of maybe overthinking, overanalyzing things because he has so much bowling knowledge.
And he certainly hasn't forgotten what happened at Tournament of Champions a couple years ago when Michael Haugen beat him by 1. So I'm sure there was a little sweet redemption there as well.
Oscar finds the pocket there, finally for him, after a run of open frame spare.
And when you look at the 8 finalists for this year's World Championships, the 2 that struggled the most on this oil pattern, Jason Belmonte, Oscar Palermo.
This the second televised major event for Palermo. It was in the 04 U.S. Open show. Ten-pin will not fall.
Oscar representing 14 different countries, 46 international players. We saw 2 international players win the World Series of Bowling,
including Mr. Palermo.
And your favorite, the lefty from South Korea, Dr. Koo.
He threw that way too hard. I mean, he is just humming those single pin spares down, and that is going to bite him hard.
Well, and that's 2 missed spares, and you just can't afford to do that in a major championship, especially against the quality of players on today's telecast.
A major miss from Palermo, and again, only 5 have ever won bowling's Triple Crown. Says Chris Barnes, trying to join that elite list today at the conclusion of his match with Palermo when we check back into Vegas. Oscar Palermo making this one easy for Chris Barnes on the spare conversion. He misses the head pin and then just rifles this one at the 10 pin in the 6th. And it's an air ball, and it is now a 36-pin hole that Oscar Palermo has dug himself in. So Oscar has had a long commercial break, and then he's going to have to sit down for another whole frame's worth of action from that man, Chris Barnes, as he continues to mull over that major error at a major. on the throat.
Yeah, he's putting boots to him now. Anytime your opponent gives you an opening, great champions step through the door and take advantage of it. Chris Barnes gets this a little bit right at target, but he throws it so well off his hand in that new release, he was able to tip that one and get it to go into the light switch zone for a three-bagger.
The lead at 46. We begin the 7th.
Go ahead, say it.
There you go, Chris Barnes. Say it like you mean it.
60 games over 5 patterns, 250 of the world's greatest players, but it all came down to versatility and endurance. Chris Barnes is showing you that he possesses both. Remember yesterday's telecast, he was about 10 boards farther left on the lane than he is now, showing you he can play all the angles.
Asku, a much-needed strike for a very talented young man from Finland.
Here he said, stay on that lane. He likes the right lane, not the left so much. As we take a look at the other finishers here from the PBA World Championship. Michael Haugen Jr. concluding at 5. Jason Belmonte at 7. And the Big Nasty checking in at 8. Asku in the 8th.
There's his second pair of strikes.
We'd have a ball game if he didn't whip those 2 spares. Number 1, he threw a hook ball at the 1-2-4. Big mistake. Needed to throw the ball straight at that spare, in my opinion anyway. And then missing the 10-pin is unforgivable. At this level, with this type of pressure, a stage this big, you can't miss single-pin spares. See him turning that hand to the inside just a little bit. He's trying to spin the ball off his hand a bit more.
Barnes to the change purse to drop a nickel.
Chris, what do you see out there, and why are you able to string the strikes and make it look so easy?
Well, a lot of guys played to the right in practice. It's kind of the same strategy Bill used the first time around on the Viper pattern, and we followed suit. And so the track's hooking a little bit right now. It's going to break down pretty fast as the rest of these guys get on them, though.
Chris, real quickly, what did those 2 open frames by Asku do to your approach for the rest of this match?
Well, I mean, there's no doubt it helps you get looser when you have an opportunity like that and you have a lead. It's easier to bowl from ahead than from behind sometimes.
So Chris Barnes steps up for his effort in the 9th, firmly in control of this one, and it's almost to the point now where you can start doing some experimenting as he gets ready for his matchup, which is looming with 2-seed Sean Rapp.
All right.
A whiff of his own in the 9th.
That's not Randy's fault. That's mine.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for bailing me out there. But for all intents and purposes, Chris Barnes needs to get 8 pins total in the 10th frame. The match is over. The best Asku Palermo can shoot is 223.
Man, was that dancing with the gutter again.
Well, Asku went with what he thought was his best chance to win, and that was the extreme outside line with the urethane. Unfortunately, missed spares was his undoing.
Cleans that one up. We urge you to head on over to PBA.com during today's telecast and submit your more of what matters to you fan question, brought to you by the makers of One A Day. You can direct your question to one of today's finalists or to one of our announcers, Kimberly, Randy, or myself. Just head on over to PBA.com and click on the One A Day logo to submit your question. We'll have that a little bit later in the broadcast. Seeing the head pin is Asku. And while we have this quick break, we do want to send out our congratulations to Asku and his fiancée, Veronica. And Asku telling us last night that he found out the day he bowled and won the Shark Championship that his fiancée is pregnant, due the end of June. A wonderful step in the right direction. Team Palermo. Look at that one.
The two-handed backup ball is pretty cool.
Man, that's awesome.
Well, he doesn't like what happened today, but he's got to be very proud of what he accomplished at the World Series of Bowling, winning the Shark Championship and finishing 4th in the World Championships. You're going to see a lot of Oscar Palermo.
Barnes back on the strike train, and for the second consecutive match, he wins with relative ease. He has yet to have been pushed on TV here at the PBA World Championship. The second major of the season is now just 6 days away. And when we return, we reflect back on Kelly Kulick's historic victory at last year's TOC.